Good afternoon, everybody. It's Lisa with Undermined Propaganda. It is May 31st, 2026, the last day of May. First thing I want to say really quick is thank you so much to everyone that's been watching, subscribing, commenting, liking. I cannot convey how much I appreciate it. And the comments and just the insightful feedback and engaging comments and feedback. Again, thank you so much, you guys. I don't know if any of you guys have seen a recent article that came out about legislation they're trying to push through to effectively integrate the United States and Israeli military. Of course, Israel does not have enough control as it is. They're buying up our media. They are having people deported for speaking out against Israeli actions and genocides. They have college students stripped of their diplomas. They are continuing to buy Congress people, to buy elections. Example, Thomas Massie. There's more spent in that election than any Senate election in American history. And it was the Israeli lobby. They wanted him gone. They wanted him out because he spoke up against Israel and their actions. And he is now voted out. So, but that's not enough. It's not enough for Israel because the tides are turning and they're losing support rapidly, faster than they ever have in the history of Israel. They are losing support here in America, especially with the Democratic Party. Now, they have always relied on one of the things they've relied on, of course, what I just said, which is buying politicians. The other thing they've relied on is their propaganda and their weaponization of when you call out Israel, when you call out a genocide, you are called anti-Semitic, you are blacklisted. And they weaponize anti-Semitism and they weaponize the Holocaust. And if you don't believe me, let's really quick take a look at a little clip from Democracy Now! This was back in 2002. A former prime minister, part of the Israeli cabinet, Aloni, I believe her, Aloni was her name, And she explicitly talks to Amy Goodman of Democracy Now! In 2002, how they use anti-Semitism as a weapon to get people to be afraid to call out Israel and their actions. So let's go ahead and take a look at that real quick. Okay, let's listen to a person that served on the Israel as a former Israeli minister from 1993 to 1996, Aloni, what she says about using the term anti-Semitism when it comes to criticizing Israel.
Yours is a voice of criticism we don't often hear in the United States. Often when there is dissent expressed in the United States against policies of the Israeli government, people here are called anti-Semitic. What is your response to that as an Israeli Jew?
Well, it's a trick. We always use it. When from Europe somebody is criticizing Israel, then we bring up the Holocaust. When in this country people are criticizing Israel, then they are anti-Semitic. And the organization is strong and has a lot of money, and the ties between Israel and the American Jewish establishment are very strong, and they are strong in this country. As you know, they have power, which it's okay, they are talented people and they have power, money and media and other things. And their attitude is Israel, my country, right or wrong, the identification. And they are not ready to hear criticism. And it's very easy to blame people who criticize certain acts of the Israeli government as anti-Semitics and to bring up the Holocaust and the suffering of the Jewish people. And that justify everything we do to the Palestinians.
Wow. So that, I mean, again, if you listen and pay attention, you will see. They will tell you what they do. They will tell you. And you can see it so clearly how they use anti-Semitism and weaponization of that and even the Holocaust to justify any and all actions by the Israeli government. including genocides, including starvation, and including sexual assault. Now, you will hear people say that our Congress is controlled by Israel, that it directs our president, it directs our government, it directs our military-industrial complex, and the first thing these people do is what she says right there. You are anti-Semitic. Israel has absolutely no influence and no control. America does things completely on their own, and we don't have any influence at all in their decisions. Well, let's go ahead and take a look on that note at the article that came out 2 days ago about how they're literally trying to integrate U.S. and Israeli military, and they're trying to do it secretly through the NDAA as a small amendment in this overall bill, so people don't notice. But good on responsible statecraft here for reporting this out, and Ben Freeman, who is the author of this article, fantastic job on getting this information out to the public. Congress quietly moves to integrate U.S. and Israeli militaries. And I'm just going to read from a couple sections in here, and I will post a link to the article, which is important to read, I believe, in the comment section for anybody that has the desire or interest that has not read it to read it. Buried in the House versions of the 2027 National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, released on Tuesday, is Section 224, entitled United States-Israeli Defense Technology Cooperation Initiative. The provision would arguably do more to intertwine the U.S. military with the Israeli military than the more than $200 billion inflation-adjusted in military assistance Israel has received from the U.S. since its founding in 1948. There was some reporting that came out recently, Bibi and Lindsey Graham, an arch-Zionist, out of the blue, saying, "Oh well, it's okay. We don't need to fund Israel anymore. They can do things on their own. We don't have to give them this money anymore." They had never had that position. Never. Always fought tooth and nail to make sure Israel got every last bit of money that they could possibly get them. So for them to come out with that was a little curious. But then this article comes out, so here's exactly why they were saying that. They don't need that, because effectively our military is their military if this were to go through. Section 224 lays the groundwork for bilateral research and development, co-production of weapons, joint ventures, licensing agreements, and seemingly every manner of U.S. military-industrial complex cooperation. Right there. And seemingly every manner of U.S. industrial complex cooperation. In other words, like I said, our military is their military. Now, there is a couple sections in here I wanted to just call out specifically. Section 224 would be a different beast entirely. It would fuse the U.S. and Israeli defense sectors in multiple areas vital to the battlefields of the future, like autonomous systems and cyber. It would also bring extraordinary Israeli influence to the U.S. beyond what it already has through the Israel lobby and its robust network of social media influencers. For example, how Bibi, that clip came out of Bibi talking to influencers about how they had to, social media and information was the next realm in weapons. And he was speaking specifically of TikTok. Before that deal went through, how he was hopeful, and it did go through. His buddy, zillionaire or billionaire Zionist here in America, Larry Ellison, bought TikTok. And they literally, the reporting came out that they were paying American influencers up to $7,000 per post to post things about how Israel is the most moral army, about how Palestinians are evil, about how there's no genocide, lies about how there's no starvation in Gaza, just blatant lies. I don't know how those people sleep. But anyway, just different forms of control, and this will take us even far beyond that. It would give the Israeli government the opportunity to greatly expand one of the most important, powerful levers of influence in U.S. politics, jobs in the U.S. And that is another extraordinarily important point right there, because you know what? As an American, it shames me to say this, but it is the truth. We don't make anything here in America anymore. We really, truly don't. We are a consumer, financialized society. The only thing left that we do make are bombs. So there are manufacturers here that provide jobs for American citizens to make weapons. And Israel would be a partner in this endeavor. There would literally be weapons factories opening up in a town near you. Weapons factories in Toledo, Ohio, offering more jobs than anything because jobs are disappearing because of AI. But hey, some people get a good paying job making weapons to kill innocent people across the world. That's what is at stake here. That is what is going on. So these politicians would be pressured to vote yes on anything the Israeli government wants because the Israeli government would be a partner in opening these facilities when, where, and how they wanted to. And then use that as leverage saying you're taking away jobs from Americans. Even though the jobs are to make weapons to kill innocent people, it is jobs regardless. So by expanding or starting new co-production facilities, co-production, they're one. The U.S. and Israel would literally, it would be complete. They would become one because we are a military nation. That's what we are. We're not just a nation. We're a nation of, we're a military nation. Kind of like they call the nations in the Middle East gas stations as a disrespectful thing to say. Well, the truthful thing to say is we are a military nation. That's what we are. We're a nation of bombs and weapons. That's it. That's the truth. By expanding or starting new co-production facilities like it already has in military in Arkansas, the Israeli government could boast of providing jobs on U.S. soil, thereby securing allies among members of Congress who represent the districts where those jobs lie. The result could well be a U.S. political system even more susceptible to the whims of the Israeli government that seemingly has no qualms about drawing the U.S. into military conflicts in the Middle East. And it does not take away the agency from America. However, you have the evil empire of America, and then you have the Israeli diabolical genocidal state in the Middle East. And you merge the two darkest, most diabolical, power-hungry entities, honestly, and I would argue in the world. Now you want to completely integrate them. That's what they're trying to do here with this legislation. So it is important for everyone to speak up about this. It is important for everyone to speak out about this. Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie have already come out and they're fighting to stop this. There's so much pressure, so much money, so much power involved in this that I have a fear that this may go through. But like I said, we got to give a voice to this stuff and do everything we can to stop it. Everything we can. Because we're already in a precarious position here. And this just takes it to a whole nother level. The last thing that Israel needs is even more power. They need to be held accountable. They need to be stopped. They need to be embargoed. They need to be sanctioned. Benjamin Netanyahu, Itamar Ben-Gvir, and every other individual over there that has committed a genocide and war crimes needs to be brought to account. We don't need to go in, we're going in the opposite direction here with stuff like this. The complete opposite direction. So anyway, I just wanted to read the articles. I think it's really, really important that all of us knows about this and we all speak up about it and have a voice about it. And as powerless as we may feel, at least I do, at least be talking about it and make sure everyone is aware so there's some chance of this being stopped, because it really, really does need to be stopped. Alrighty, guys, I appreciate anybody that's listened. Please let me know if you found anything valuable in this video at all. Like, share, subscribe. It's free. Comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think we could do to stop this. Anything in the direction to be able to do that. All right. I think I'm done for today. And I want to say, I hope that you guys find at least a little bit of peace in the rest of your day. And I will talk with you soon. Report out anything new I hear about this specifically or anything else related to it or domestic policy that pops up, which is all over the place. All right. Thanks again, guys. I appreciate you. I will talk to you soon. Bye.